Alright everybody, welcome back to another Davis Does Weather live stream. Thank you for joining me here this evening. The time is now 5:16 p.m. Central, 6:16 p.m. Eastern, and we have potentially a strong tornado ongoing southwest of Mason, Texas. Storm chasers DL Scales and Garrett Thompson have a live look at this severe thunderstorm right now. Again, this is a tornado warning storm right now for Mason and other portions of central Texas along Highway 377 there. This goes out for portions of Kimball, Mason, and Menard counties. If you're included in this tornado warning, you need to be seeking shelter immediately on the lowest floor of a sturdy building, away from windows and in an interior room. Again, your actual area of circulation is going to be located just east of London, Texas right now. So again, some intermediate getting hit with some of those extreme, likely some of that RFD surge right now associated with this tornado warning storm. Again, potentially actually producing a tornado right now. Again, we have gotten their permission to use their feed for this live stream here. Again, we're going to see what they're talking about right now, because I don't know if they have anything on the ground. I don't think they do quite yet, but they're very close. Again, this supercell is going to have a very significant potential to do something over the next several minutes. I just realized you guys can hear them on here as well. Shoot. All right. So, again, significant tornado likely developing here southwest of Mason, Texas. So if you're in this area, make sure you're seeking shelter immediately. There is almost a 100% chance that they're going to issue a new tornado warning out ahead for this thing for areas north of Harper, Texas, along Highway 87. So if you're in this area, be prepared to seek shelter. Again, we've got ourselves already a nasty couplet there on the velocities. Again, storm intermediate on this thing right now, right over Road 1871 southwest of Mason, Texas. Again, seeing some of those significant wind gusts likely associated with that RFD surge. Again, likely a strong tornado developing, if not already on the ground here south of Mason, Texas. So if you're in this area, make sure you are seeking shelter immediately. I'm going to go ahead and pull up stream chat. If anybody has any questions about their location, make sure to leave those down below. I'll try to answer them accurately and honestly. And let's go ahead and get right into this day of significant severe weather coverage. Now, I mentioned last night on my community tab that a couple of strong tornadoes would be possible today, and that remains true. We have already seen a somewhat significant tornado. It had horizontal vortices just south of Menard, Texas earlier today, and a supercell that was tracking alongside that tornado has managed to develop some pretty intense rotation here. Again, storm intermediate right in the middle of this right now, so they're seeing some of that intense wind elevation, damaging winds up to 60, 70 miles an hour. But again, also significant hail with this thing. Lapse rates out here in this environment are ranging anywhere from 7.5 to 8. So this supercell is likely producing some large to very large hail at the moment. So if you are in this area, again, you need to make sure that you are seeking shelter immediately. Again, storm intermediate has a live look at this severe thunderstorm. Again, this tornado warning storm. There's no signs that this is actively producing a tornado, but I wouldn't entirely rule it out. Again, I'm not saying that it's going to happen, but I'm also not saying it's impossible right now. It's in an environment where it's going to have room to grow and become even more and more intense over the next several minutes with all that nice, unstable, those high K values out here, that incredible wind shear that we have out here in this environment in central Texas today. So we're going to see what happens with this over the next several minutes. But if a supercell were to do something today, it would likely be this one. So if you're in this area, again, you got to make sure that you are seeking shelter immediately, and we're going to hope that this thing occludes over the next several minutes, and it's not entirely discreet. Whoa, what did I miss? Brian with the $50 donation. W. Brian in the chat. Thank you so much, Brian, for the $50 dono. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate that. Terrific coverage. Thanks for keeping us safe. Huge super fan from Texas. Thank you so much, dude. You did not have to do that. Everybody, spam up those W's for Brian in the chat for the $50 donation. That is incredible. Thank you so much for your generosity. That is amazing, dude. I really do appreciate that. Again, W. Brian's in the chat for the $50 donation. That is incredible. So thank you so much for that. Again, you did not have to do that, but I really do appreciate that. It helps out a lot. It really does. So thank you so much, Brian, for the $50 donation. Again, W. Brian's in the chat if you've not already. Again, I wish we could focus on that a little more right now, but we do kind of have an active situation here. But again, in all seriousness, thank you so much for the $50 dono. That is incredible. Wow. That is insane. Wow. Give me just a second here. I'm going to go ahead and share this out on the community tab. I encourage you guys to share this with any friends or family that you may have out here in central Texas. Again, we're watching for a somewhat significant severe weather and tornado threat today, especially across the central portion of the Lone Star State. We do have a couple of storms near San Angelo right now. These are mostly outflow dominant, but they are going to have the capabilities to produce some large hail and damaging winds over the next several minutes. So if you're out here in San Angelo, make sure you are getting indoors and away from windows. This storm is warned for damaging wind gusts up to 60 miles an hour and hail up to half dollar size. This thing's going to be right flooding Highway 67 here pretty shortly. And then we've also got ourselves a severe thunderstorm warning going out for Sonora, Texas along I-10. So if you're in this area, make sure you're getting indoors immediately as well. Damaging winds up to 60 miles an hour. And hail up to quarter size being a possibility with that. Give me just a second here. Again, I'm going to share this out on the community tab. Give me just a moment. Uno momento. I saw that, Kevin. Yeah, we had a near 6-inch hailstone near Menard, Texas today, just after last night's 6-inch hailstone back a little bit closer over to the Panhandle northwest of Abilene. Again, incredible setup for today for a major hail threat. Again, extremely steep lapse rates with that semi-merging environment. Again, you've got yourself a favorable setup for a large to, again, potentially a catastrophic hail threat, and that's definitely what we've been seeing today. Again, if you are out here included in this tornado warning, you really need to take this seriously, not just because we've got some very intense rotation wrapping up just south of Mason, but also just because this storm is likely actively producing hail up to large apple size or larger. Again, you can see some of that hail there on the correlation coefficient. I mean, this is a monster supercell right now, not only producing large to very large hail, but again, actively trying to put down a tornado here just south of Mason. Again, no signs that this is actively doing anything, but we're going to watch this. Okay. So, again, Storm Media right now on your screen just above my head, even whenever we don't have them up on Radar Omega here, you'll notice they are in the thick of things here. Again, they are right where that tornado would be if it was on the ground. So, I mean, it's very unlikely that we have anything ongoing at this time. If it was, it would be so incredibly rain-wrapped. So, again, do not try and go outside and look for this thing. Just because you can't see it doesn't mean it's not there. That is the most common way that you're going to get hurt in a situation like this, is if you're not taking it seriously enough. Again, if you get underground or into a storm shelter, or even just on the lowest floor of a sturdy building, away from windows and in the middle of your house, you're going to be fine. But if you don't take those precautions there's a good chance that you're going to end up getting hurt. So you want to make sure that you're doing that, because not only is this trying to actively put down a large tornado, but also it is producing large hail, potentially up to large apple size. So again, very intense supercell ongoing right now just south of Mason, Texas, producing large to very large hail, damaging wind gusts, and again, potentially trying to produce a tornado here. I mean, this supercell is definitely in an environment where you could do it. There's your vertically integrated liquid signatures. We've got a swath of maxed out vertically integrated liquid signatures over 13 miles. So again, extremely large hail occurring here. Likely that everywhere in that, light gray shaded area is seeing at least quarter-sized hail or larger right now. It's typically a safe bet to assume whenever you're talking about the vertically integrated liquid product on your radar apps like Radar Omega. So again, we'll watch out for that, because obviously we don't just want to talk about, how there's a pretty significant tornado threat here. We want to try to cover every aspect of this storm and all the threats associated with it. And again, right now this looks predominantly like a hail dropper. I mean, again, obviously the potential for this to produce a tornado is definitely there, but huge hail right now falling along Highway 377 just west of Mason. And this is going to be moving off to the east-southeast. I think with the next tornado warning that they issue for this, again, it'll likely be going out for parts of Highway 87. I wouldn't be shocked if they put the large apple-sized hail tag on this thing, or potentially even higher than that, because this is a very nasty supercell. And again, those incredibly high lapse rates out here are fueling that hail threat even further. So if you are out here, make sure you are taking this threat seriously and taking shelter immediately. Again, Storm Intermediate right in the middle of where this thing would actually be producing a tornado if one was on the ground. Again, no signs of one ongoing at this time, but even if it was on the ground, it would be so incredibly rain-wrapped that it would be hail-wrapped. So you don't want to try and play around with this thing. You want to make sure that you are getting to your safe spot immediately. I do also want to note we do have a somewhat significant threat for severe weather tonight across portions of the Gulf Coast. We do have a big old QLCS moving through portions of southwest Alabama right now. I don't know what that was. Moving through portions of southwest Alabama right now, again, likely producing damaging winds of 60 to 70 miles an hour. You'll notice that bowing shape there going on along Highway 43 near Linden. That's likely where we have our most intense area of wind gusts ongoing of, potentially of 70 to 75 miles an hour. We have had widespread tree and power line damage reported with this line here as it was moving through portions of southern Mississippi, and this also actually did produce a brief QLCS tornado just northeast of Jackson earlier. This actually did have a tornadic debris signature associated with it on the correlation coefficient product, and we do have a report of not too far away from downed trees and power lines, so it's a potential that this tornado was the cause of those downed trees and power lines, but again, it's also possible that they were just straight line wind damage results. So we'll see what happens with that QLCS. We did just get an extension for our tornado warning, and like we said, this is now a PDS tornado warning. Wow. So this is now a particularly dangerous situation. Tornado warning here going out for Mason, Texas, and surrounding areas. If you're in this area, you've got to run, do not walk to your safe spot. This is a significant area of rotation. Again, this is a PDS radar indicated tornado warning, but a PDS nonetheless. So if you are in this area, you need to run, do not walk to your safe spot. This is a large and extremely dangerous area of circulation that is going to have the potential to produce a strong tornado over the next several minutes. Again, we've been talking about this, but the National Weather Service has now issued a PDS tornado warning. So if you are out here in Mason County, you gotta go. You gotta either get underground or in a storm shelter. Again, this is now a PDS tornado warning for Mason, Texas, and surrounding areas. Again, you've got to run, do not walk to your safe spot. This is a particularly dangerous situation. Tornado warning now going out for Mason, Texas. Again, for anybody not aware, a PDS, that stands for particularly dangerous situation tornado warning. That is an elevated type of tornado warning whenever they are certain, the National Weather Service is certain that there's either a strong to violent tornado ongoing or the potential for one to develop is in place. So the fact that we have one here, again, this is not an active, ongoing, strong tornado, but there's the potential that this drops one within the next several minutes. So give me just a second here, updating the title and everything. Give me just a moment. Again, this is now a PDS tornado warning here in Texas. I did not expect that, I'll be honest with you guys. Again, it's not too often that we see PDS tornado warnings for radar indicator rotation, but it is here. So we'll see what happens with this. Again, no signs of an active tornado, but certainly the potential for one to develop here south of Mason as this circulation looks very intense right now. So if you're in this area, make sure you are seeking shelter immediately. Just a moment. Let me share a post out on X. I am very aware. If you were paying attention, you noticed that I said several times that it is radar indicated. This is not a confirmed tornado, but the potential is there for this to produce a strong tornado. So if you're in this area, again, you need to make sure that you are seeking shelter immediately. Again, if this is actively producing a tornado, Storm Media would be in it. Rotation looks to be dying out here a little bit, but it's not a guarantee. So if you're in this area, you need to be in your safe spot. If you are south of Mason along Highway 87, what's up, Sam? Again, this is a nasty area of circulation right now just southwest of Mason. Again, I was not expecting this to go PDS, but there we go again. Probably the right call there by the National Weather Service to convey the level of urgency here, because this does actually look like a pretty significant velocity coupling, and again, a very large one. I was kind of surprised whenever Storm Media did not have something at least trying to drop. They mentioned several times that there's been some lowering, rotating scud clouds, but again, obviously that's not necessarily indicative of anything. It's possible that we're seeing a velocity couplet handoff here to the west, or that could just be contamination. Again, we're quite far away from the radar site, so we'll see what happens. New severe thunderstorm warning just issued for areas along Highway 55 northwest of Rock Springs, Texas, for another cluster of thunderstorms here. This is for damaging wind gusts up to 60 miles an hour and quarter-sized hail. So if you're along Highway 277 or Highway 55 there north of Rock Springs, you need to make sure that you are getting indoors immediately. But again, likely a significant tornado developing here near Mason, Texas. So if you're in this area, make sure you are seeking shelter immediately. A new severe thunderstorm warning has been issued just off to the east here for, to the west here for areas south of Menard, Texas, for hail up to quarter size and damaging wind gusts up to 60 miles an hour. These could be the thunderstorms that end up actually killing our Supercell's potential to produce a strong tornado here, because they're going to make this Supercell fight for its life. It's not going to be in a discrete environment anymore. Again, this is not a discrete Supercell by any means, and these Supercells are only going to limit that potential even further. So if you guys are out here included in this new severe thunderstorm warning, you do need to be moving indoors, but keep in mind the potential for these to produce a tornado are much, much lower. Why are you guys saying he's not reading chat? I've read chat several times. Anyway, again, likely a developing tornado here just southwest of Mason, Texas. Again, Storm Media's feed is obviously cutting out, but we'll see if they can get something here. By the way, Jesse was on this storm. just several minutes ago. If you guys aren't aware, Jesse's out here in Central Texas today, storm chasing again. He was actually on the storm that produced the tornado near Menard, as well as the 6-inch hailstones just south of Menard, Texas. And I believe that he got a view of that tornado. I'm not certain on that, but it's very possible. So if you are out here in this area, again, make sure that you are seeking shelter immediately. But again, potentially significant tornado developing south of Mason, Texas. New velocity scan just came in. Shoot. New velocity scan just came in. This is a very broad area of circulation at this point. And again, we are so far away from the radar. It's very hard to get any sort of accurate data here. We're talking, 85 miles away from the nearest radar site. We can try to look from the southwest Texas radar. Again, it's very contaminated, but you can kind of get the general idea. Your area of circulation there's going to be just southwest of Mason, Texas. Very weak, but stronger the higher up into the atmosphere you go. And again, if that correlates to the surface, then there could be the potential for a development of a strong tornado here. So we'll see what happens. But anyway. I know that we have a lot of viewers from the DFW Metroplex. I would like to note we do have some heavy thunderstorms moving through that area right now, but these aren't going to have the potential to produce any, sort of tornado threat or really any sort of severe weather threat at all. These right now are in an environment that has a limited amount of instability. If we go ahead and take a look at our surface-based Cape values, you'll notice that they're ranging anywhere from 500 to 1,000. They're very, very messy storm mode overall, just not seeing anything too impressive with any of these thunderstorms, but I did want to let you guys know, if you are out there in the DFW Metroplex, that an isolated flash flooding threat could develop over the next couple of hours if those thunderstorms remain stationary. So, again, going back down further to the south, storm intermedia still right in the inflow notch for where this tornado warning storm is right now. Again, he's just southwest, or they are just southwest of Mason, Texas. So, we'll see what happens with this over the next several minutes. But again, no signs of an ongoing tornado here, but the potential for one to develop is very real. So if you are south of Mason, Texas, you do need to make sure that you are seeking shelter immediately. Again, the area of rotation does not look nearly as impressive as whenever this thing first went PDS. It was more impressive before it even went PDS, but again, a particularly dangerous situation, tornado warning, nothing to play around with. So if you're out here in this area, you need to make sure that you're seeking shelter immediately. I just realized we never even put freaking Brian up on the donation board for the $50 donation. Again, I cannot thank you enough for that, Brian. That is incredible. I don't know if you're still here, dude, but that is incredible. Thank you so much for the $50 dono. That's amazing. I hope you're having a good day. Again, I really do appreciate that from the bottom of my heart. You did not have to do that, but it really does help out quite a bit. So again, storm intermedia still on this thing. You see those elevated wind gusts again. We're talking, 60 to 70 mile an hour wind gusts associated with this thing. And Alan as well with the $50 donation. Oh my goodness, Alan Crow. Ladies and gentlemen, the GOAT is back. It's been a while since we've streamed, I'll be honest, guys. The past few days, I just haven't really been feeling it. And also, things haven't been nearly as significant as they could have been over the past several days. But we're back now, and I'm so glad to see all you guys back here. Again, donating or not, I really do appreciate all you guys, but especially the people that do go above and beyond and do things like that. With the $50 donation, again, that is not necessary whatsoever, but I really do appreciate it. So everybody, spam up those W's in chat for Alan the GOAT. Alan is legitimately the top donor of all time. There's no debate. Also, storm intermedia in the middle of this very intense area of inflow again. This is a significant area of rotation here. Again, even if this doesn't actively produce a tornado, those surface winds are going to be really intense with this. So if you're in this area, you've got to be seeking shelter immediately. Again, this is a potentially significant tornado developing here. At the very least, these are highly elevated wind gusts and monster hail falling with this thing. So we're going to continue to watch this, but, I mean, these are hurricane-force wind gusts out here right now, southwest of Mason, Texas, guys. So, again, you've got to be seeking shelter, and you've got to get into your safe spot if you're in this area. Jesse just met Pico's Hank. Let's freaking go. I'm going to pull up that video on the stream. Hold on. Just a sec, chat. This is hilarious. Screen mirror. Jesse literally just met Pico's Hank. Here he is. That is epic. That is crazy. Legitimately the greatest storm chaser to ever touch the surface of the earth. Bro met him 5 seconds ago. So again, if you're in this area, you do need to make sure that you are seeking shelter immediately. Again, if this does produce, it's going to be a heavily rain-wrapped tornado, so you're not going to see this thing. It's going to be nasty. It's going to be monstrous. I mean, this is a very strong area rotation here, so definitely still has the potential to do something. Again, this is still a particularly dangerous situation. Radar-indicated tornado warning here, so the potential for this supercell to produce a strong tornado is there. Again, no signs that it's actively doing so. A lot of scud. A lot of rotating wall clouds and lowerings and several things. But anyway, we'll see what happens. Again, still a very intense area of circulation. I don't want to underplay this. Check differential reflectivity, okay. Oh, wow. Yeah. You can see that very clear area of inflow there. Wow. That is very impressive. You can also see it sometimes on... Yeah, you can see it here on the correlation coefficient as well. That's crazy. This is wild. Again, this is a significant area of rotation still, without a doubt. Again, look at those elevated wind gusts. I mean, these are 60, 70, maybe even more. So we'll see what happens. Again, likely going to end up seeing some downed trees and power lines in this region here. Again, those inflow winds, very intense. Very intense. What's up, Evan? Welcome back. Do they have a live look at the meso? I didn't see anything. But I would not be shocked if some of these areas started seeing flash flood warnings come out very soon. Again, these prolonged periods of just unnecessarily excessive rainfall over these areas. Again, these storms are remaining mostly stationary. I mean, these can seriously ramp up a pretty significant flash flooding threat. Again, areas southeast of Menard, Texas have already accumulated anywhere between 3 and 4 inches of rain in rural regions. So, again, we're going to see what happens, but... I mean, I would not be shocked if they issued a flash flood warning here very soon for some of these areas. Again, the radar data is quite low res. I bet if it was higher resolution, we could probably see some 4-inch rain totals or somewhere near there in that region anyways. Okay. So again, this supercell here still has the very real potential to produce a strong or, again, potentially significant tornado here over the next several minutes southwest of Mason, Texas. So if you're in this area, you need to be seeking shelter immediately. Again, a PDS radar-indicated tornado warning means that there is the chance that a significant tornado can develop with this supercell over the next several minutes, and if that does end up happening, you're going to want to make sure that you are in your safe spot. And again, either way, you've got those significant hurricane-force wind gusts with that area of inflow. You've also got your monster hail core. It is just best practice to be in your safe spot if you are out here right now, especially south of Mason, Texas, but even in Mason, Texas, we want you to get to your safe spot because those intense damaging wind gusts are going to be making their way through here very, very shortly. So, again, potentially a significant tornado developing here just south of Mason, Texas. Again, this is a very, very intense area of circulation. Freddy was on this, but he dived off to the south again. I don't think that this supercell is going to probably do anything at this point, but it's still a possibility. The reason that he probably left this, and the same reason Storm Media left this, is because they don't want to be in that mess. You don't want to be in a supercell that could produce a rain-wrapped wedge tornado at any minute. You don't know where it's at. You don't know how strong it's going to be. You can't see it. You've also got, 80-mile-an-hour winds and, softball-sized hail falling. You don't want to be in that position as a storm chaser. So I can understand why they're leaving, but I don't think that we can entirely rule out this supercell doing anything yet. Again, I mean, it still looks pretty impressive on the radar and from the surface, so we'll see what happens. But... I will say Vince Welty is on this, but he's quite far away. And again, it is going to be a rain-wrapped tornado if it does produce. So, let's check that out, Sam. What's our SRH looking like? So, SRH in the first kilometer of the atmosphere is sitting at about 200, 250. So, very impressive there. Again, you go to the first 3 kilometers of the atmosphere, you're talking about quite a bit higher than that as well. Anywhere between 400 and 450. So, again, if we take a look at the HRRR future track here, we'll notice that these supercells are likely going to combine into one big old QLCS as we go later to the nighttime hours. By 10 p.m., we're looking at a significant damaging wind threat for both the Austin and San Antonio metro areas. Also back up into the Panhandle, I wouldn't rule out some isolated damaging to significant wind gusts there in between Lubbock and Amarillo, Texas, but I think our more impressive threat for extreme damaging winds and QLCS tornadoes obviously will come through southern Texas overnight, and then that brings us swiftly into tomorrow's threat, all right? We're going to be looking at some of those remnant thunderstorms that QLCS that are moving through the Gulf Coast, and that has prompted a slight risk of severe weather issuance from the National Weather Service, from the Storm Prediction Center. I'm rusty. They've also thrown out a day 2 slight risk of severe weather here for portions of southwestern Texas, as we're expecting another round of supercells to develop here. Again, this is the 18Z HRRR model. You'll notice that the storm mode's not super discrete, but some damaging wind gusts could be possible. WX Clips, welcome back, my good sir. How's it going? I will note potentially an enhanced tornado threat down here near the Texas-Mexico border around 7, 8, 9 p.m. Therefore, anywhere that does end up seeing that more discrete activity, our instability values are obviously not going to be lacking whatsoever. We take a look at our surface-based CAPE. I mean, you're talking, 3,500 joules per kilogram of that instability out there at the surface level. Our SRH values are going to be relatively impressive in the first 3 kilometers of the atmosphere. That's not where your supercells are, so they're not going to be popping up right now, but they do get higher. And then you also take a look at your bulk shear within the first, we'll say 6 kilometers of the atmosphere here. We'll take a look at first, and this is what your values are looking like. If it would like to load, that would just be spectacular. I mean, that would be amazing. Please load. Just load. It's not that hard. Just load. Okay. Now, what is it even showing me? Okay, I was going to say, those are not wind shear values. Our shear values are within the first 6 kilometers of the atmosphere are sitting at about 50 knots, which is pretty impressive and more than enough to promote a significant severe weather threat. That's a clippable moment right there, WX Clips. Just load. Anyway, what's going on, Top Fan? So our supercell still does have a PDS radar indicated tornado warning here. Again, inflow still visible and correlation coefficient. So we'll see what this does here over the next several minutes, but the potential for this to produce a tornado is still in play. So if you're south or even in Mason, Texas, you do need to be remaining in your safe spot here. New severe thunderstorm warning has just been issued. That's going to be going out for portions of the Texas Panhandle here. Got ourselves a little isolated supercell over the Pampa area just northeast of Amarillo. This is going to be along Highway 60. This is warned for a quarter-sized hail and damaging wind gusts up to 60 miles an hour. Pampa, Texas 2.0. I want to do a documentary on that tornado because that is such a fascinating story, and that is a tornado that could be, you can make the case that that's on your top 10 list. And nobody talks about it. The tornado warning for the backside of this supercell has now been canceled, but again, a PDS tornado warning remains in effect for areas south of Mason, Texas. So if you're in this area, you need to be seeking shelter immediately. New Meso, let's check it out. Okay, so we do actually have a new Mesoscale discussion here. This is going out for portions of south-central Texas. This mentions the potential for a couple of tornadoes, as well as damaging wind gusts up to 90 miles per hour and large to very large hail up to in between large apple and softball size being a possibility over the area highlighted in the red shaded region there from Austin back over towards Rock Springs, Texas over the next several hours until about 7:30 p.m. That threat's going to be at its peak. So if you're in this area, make sure you do have multiple ways to receive alerts and have a tornado action plan in place. Again, if placed under a tornado warning, you want to make sure that you're getting to the lowest floor of a sturdy building, away from windows and an interior room. I also just noticed we are going to be hitting Mesoscale discussion 1000 here tonight, so that's pretty interesting. But there you go. The potential for a couple of tornadoes and perhaps a brief strong one still exists this evening, according to the Storm Prediction Center. Today was another example of this is a 5% hatch risk. It legitimately is. Again, the potential for a strong tornado does exist, but is that threat very widespread? Not at all. Not whatsoever. So again, I really do hope that they make the decision to introduce the 5-hatch tornado risk here by the end of the year, but they're probably not. It would be cool, though. That's something to think about. Name everything in an observed sounding. All right, bud. Otter WX, how's it going? I don't know if I've seen you in the stream chats before. Welcome in. So again, still strong but relatively broad area of circulation south of Mason, Texas. At this point, again, I really do believe that this is likely actively producing damaging winds of 80 to 90 miles an hour at the surface. Again, we saw whenever SRM was driving through this, Connor was in it. I mean, these are hurricane force wind gusts, especially in areas associated with the inflow notch. So, we'll see. Davis has infinite Riz. Yes, sir. Like how I fart as soon as I say that. I will note there is a very minuscule but still noticeable hail spike appearing there just south of Highway 55 associated with our supercell south of Sonora, Texas, northwest of Rock Springs. So, again, that could potentially be indicative of a large to very large hail threat associated with this supercell here. Where can I sub for custom flare? Oh, if you're talking about becoming a member, you can do that by clicking the button next to the chat, unless you're on the YouTube app on mobile. But there's a link in the description of all my videos to become a member. You get access to exclusive content, members-only videos. You also get custom stickers to use in chat if any of you members want to show those off right now. And you also get early access to certain forecasts, and you get your name shouted out at the end of every single one. So... Yo, if Stream Chat could stay on topic, that would be nice. If somebody could write me that paragraph. Please keep chat respectful, family friendly, and on topic. Donations are appreciated but not required. That would be great. Because this is crazy. I leave for 1 week and I come back to this. It actually has been 6 days since we streamed. That is like the longest period of time we've gone without streaming in ever. So... Thank you, Brian. So again, you can still see that noticeable area of inflow there on both correlation coefficient, and if we go back to the differential reflectivity, there you go. Again, just south of Mason, Texas at this point. We'll see what happens. Thank you, Mr. Twister. Again, even if this storm doesn't end up producing a tornado, which it looks like it's not going to, it's still actively producing gorilla hail and damaging wind gusts of 70 to 80 miles an hour at the surface. So we'll see what happens. Is there another new mesoscale? We're at 997. 997, folks. They do mention the threat that, as we pointed out earlier, a damaging wind potential Alright, there's my first word salad of the stream. Does still exist there across the southern portion of the state over the next couple of hours, particularly anywhere from the Chatham region back over towards Montgomery. Again, some significant damaging wind gusts, nothing else to really worry about, honestly. I mean, they do mention a very, very low-end tornado threat. I highly doubt it at this point. Your thermos would have to get quite a bit more impressive for a line of storms of this intensity to produce a tornado. Again, it did earlier, but that was, for one, a very... My voice cracks are awful today. A very brief tornado, and it was also in a much better environment. So again, you can even see the area of the area of inflow on your velocities, kinda. That's kind of funny. But your area of circulation at this point is going to be located just west of Highway 87, very broad, but it still has the potential to tighten up there. If you're new here, make sure to like and subscribe. We do this every day for areas all across the country, and we are getting very close to 4,300 subs. We are just 14 away. So if you haven't already, make sure to click that subscribe button. What's up, Ashford? New severe thunderstorm warning just issued. That's going to be going out for the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex region. Again, we mentioned these thunderstorms. They're mainly just going to bring a very small hail threat with them, as well as a localized street flooding risk. So if you're in this area, make sure you're moving indoors. Now warned for quarter-size hail. So, see what happens with that. Half an hour ago, emergency managers did report quarter-size hail with our the similar cluster of thunderstorms here. Again, you can still see that area of inflow there on the correlation coefficient, which is crazy to me. You can see it going very deep there on the lowered reflectivity precip values. So, thank you, Brian. I appreciate that. Alrighty. So, again, the tornado threat with this storm is continuing to decrease, but I will say that elevated pocket of winds there. Again, obviously you're talking very elevated here, but you're measuring wind gusts on velocities up to 120 miles per hour. So even the surface winds would likely be quite intense with this. William with the $10 donation. W. Williams down below in the chat. Another one of the GOATs is back again. Thank you so much, William, for the $10 dono. You did not have to do that. He's amazing. So welcome back, William. Thank you for the $10 donation. I didn't even say anything in chat before he did it. But thank you so much, William, for the $10 dono. That is incredible. But thank you so much, William, for the $10 dono if you're in here. Alrighty. So again, still a very broad but intense area of circulation just southwest of Highway 87. Again, it's not confirmed that this ever produced a tornado. It's likely that it didn't. But if it did, it would have been heavily rain-wrapped. I mean, there's no way you're seeing this. It would have been hail-wrapped. So, we'll see what happens, but again, at this point, likely that with their next issuance of this tornado warning here, it's going to be not a PDS tornado warning anymore. It's going to be radar indicated if they even reissue it. I would not be shocked if they issued a destructive severe thunderstorm warning for this. So again, some significant damaging wind gusts coming in. There's the annual is William Spann related to the James Spann question. There we go. It's been a while. It's been too long, but we got it. Haven't you met him before, though? Did the Sampa, I cannot speak today, chat. The Mesoscale briefly produce? It's probably a land spout, if nothing else. I mean, I don't see any impressive rotation with this here. Or was it much earlier today? Where are you hearing that from, if you don't mind me asking? New severe thunderstorm warning just issued for the cell just north of there along Highway 70. This is going to be crossing Highway 70 north of Pampa and Skellytown right now. If you're in this area, make sure you are getting indoors. This is warned for quarter-sized hail and damaging wind gusts up to 60 miles an hour. Or New Mexico QLCS is starting to become underway here. I mean, we're watching these bands of thunderstorms develop very quickly. Again, HRRR has these developing and becoming very, very intense overnight. I suppose not very, very intense, but damaging wind gusts 60 to 70 miles an hour can't be ruled out across portions of the Texas Panhandle. It also does like the idea of a couple of our Oklahoma supercells maintaining intensity and growing in intensity over time. So this may be a spot to watch here. Likely just due to our elevated kinematics. What does our shear look like? Yeah, 50 knots of shear. And again, I mean, obviously your instability is not going to be a problem in a late May Southern Plains event. About 1,500 joules per kilogram at Cape. So not quite as high as I thought, but... your SRH, obviously not going to be too much of a problem either if we were to go out to a point where... There we go. SRH values are looking around 400 to 450 with any supercells that do end up developing tonight in Oklahoma. Our Holisty tracks also apparent, so the chance for a very brief weak tornado definitely in play here across west central Oklahoma tonight. So I imagine what they'll do is they'll keep this slight risk here at the next SPC update at 1Z, and they'll allow the damaging wind risk to remain in play for the Texas Panhandle, and the 5% tornado probability to remain in effect for western Oklahoma. Do they even have a 5% tornado probability in Oklahoma? They do not. They don't even have a 2%. They'll probably add a 2% then. So again, PDS tornado warning remains in effect here for Mason and surrounding areas to the south along Highway 87 in Texas. If you're in this area, you got to be in your safe spot again, either underground in a storm shelter or on the lowest floor of a sturdy building, away from windows and in an interior room. This is a significant supercell here. I mean, it's not quite as impressive as it was earlier, but still has the very real potential to produce significant damaging winds and large to very large hail. And they have, as we expected, issued a considerable flash flood warning. All right, they have now downgraded the tornado warning to radar indicated non-PDS. Okay. Just a sec here. Gotta update the stream title. Again, I don't see this supercell doing anything at this point. I'm going to be totally honest with you guys. So we may not be here for much longer. Gonna call it quits early tonight. All right. Again, all of our storms off to the west here are entirely outflow dominant. It looks like that was a horrible circle, but our supercells off to the west here. Let's try that again. There we are. Our supercells off to the west here look to be mostly outflow dominant. So perhaps some large hail with those, but nothing too intense from a tornadic standpoint. Perhaps something trying to happen there with our cell near Cristobal. We'll watch that. Alright, I'm going to start timing people out now, if chat does not get back on topic, because again, I've already asked a couple times now for that to happen, so please, please. cold air funnels. That may have been what was reported north of Pampa then. Again, there's no way it was an actual fully condensed tornado. Oh, I see you just added me there. Hold on. Okay, wow, yeah. So there actually was a cold air funnel that looks like it made ground contact for a very brief period of time north of Pampa, Texas. Also, new severe thunderstorm warning going out for Barton Corners in the Texas Panhandle. If you're in this area, make sure you're getting indoors. Damaging winds up to 60 miles an hour and quarter-sized hail. It is possible. It happens from time to time. Bro, why did you hide him? Bro just got cooked. Otter, I'll go ahead and make you a mod. So, again, rotation continuing to become less and less impressive here with our tornado warning storm along Highway 87. The chance for this to produce a brief tornado is still there, but I think it's mainly going to be a hail dropper at this point. Again, I would continue to watch some of these storms here off to the west. They're mostly outflow dominant for the time being, but that could change. And then our Alabama threat at this point should just be localized to gusty winds. So, we'll see what happens. Even that's kind of falling apart. So, again, the spot I'd be watching for the rest of the night for any sort of brief tornado threat would be west central Oklahoma. Hold up, Chad. I'll be right back. Alrighty, folks, I am back. But anyway, as I was saying, there is still likely going to be a low-end tornado threat here tonight in west central Oklahoma as cells look to materialize in a somewhat unstable and then also a highly sheared environment there just northwest of Oklahoma City. I think we're probably going to be lacking, if we were to take a look at dew points here, yeah, we're lacking a bit of moisture. It's by no means a perfect setup, but the chance for a brief tornado does exist, I'll say that much. Bro, alright, bro. Alright, new tornado warning just issued for Fredericksburg, Texas. They did actually go ahead and extend it. If you're in Fredericksburg, you need to make sure that you are seeking shelter immediately. I don't know why it goes so far south, but there we go. So again, at this point, probably going to cut things off here pretty soon. It still does have a nice inflow notch. Yeah, you're very correct about that. But I don't see it doing much. It's not discrete anymore. I mean, it never really was that discrete, but it's struggling, man. Perhaps a very localized tornado threat with some of these cells rising off to the east. But I don't think they're going to be able to materialize really and mature, I'd say. Again, our greatest chance of a brief tornado, again, in my opinion, personally, would come just northwest of Oklahoma City tonight at this point. Bro just came in to self-promote. That's crazy. Bro just came in to say, going live. I bet you he immediately left after that. Bro needed that self-report. Or self-promote. I can't even speak, so maybe I should just shut up, but it's crazy. That's absolutely wild. No, you're good. I was just playing. Is that the daily Kevin timeout? Perhaps. I'm still interested in what's going on here near Cristobal. Again, it looks like it's an outflow dominant storm, but looks like also at the same time it looks like it's gonna hook. Is this a rerun? Alright, bro. I do think I'm going to end off here, though. But I really do appreciate everybody for tuning in. Again, I know it's been a while. I do want to quickly note, before we end off, this may quite possibly be the last stream that I do ever. In this room, you got baited. So this is, I'm not joking, it is the last stream we're going to be doing in this room, quite possibly. I did not mean to quad box, because here's the plot twist. Alright, that's not funny. Here's the plot twist. I will be getting a MacBook. And it should be far better than this computer ever was for streaming. So, a few things that are going to change is, you know how if we bring up... Oh, my voice cracks will not change. You know how if we bring up more than one chaser, the stream will either lag like crazy or it'll crash? That's not going to happen anymore. We can bring up multiple chasers at once. Videos will be higher quality. Also, we're going to have, in the room that I'm going to be doing things in, there's LED lights. So whenever there's a tornado warning, we'll turn them red. Severe thunderstorm warning, we'll turn them orange. Tornado emergency, they go purple. If you remember, you already knew this. But we will be getting our first ever real upgrade to the DavisDoesWeather setup. So, again, I appreciate the support, guys, because none of this would be possible without you guys. I don't want to get sappy, but I do want to level with you guys here for a second. If it wasn't for your guys' support, I would not be able to do anything like that. Again, especially like all the donations and the members and everything. And even just the people that watch these videos, again, I would not be able to do things like that if it weren't for you guys. But again, I thank God that He's allowed me to be in this position where I've got all you awesome people out there watching from home and supporting me. So I really do appreciate it. If this is the last stream in here, again, I mean, there's been so many fun memories, but I don't know, man. I mean, it's just kind of crazy because every stream that we've ever done, we have done hundreds and hundreds of streams. If you're counting videos as well, we've done thousands of pieces of content in this room. In this room alone. I've spent hours and hours in this room streaming. Whenever we started making videos in this room, I wasn't even interested in weather yet. And whenever we started streaming in this room, I definitely didn't know that much about it. So it's just kind of crazy to see how much we've grown since then. But, I mean, that's just it. So, again, the last stream in this room, probably. But anyway, I'll talk to you guys later. Thank you all for tuning in. Thank you for sticking around. Peace.